Madam Deputy Speaker, there was a recent university survey done by Australian Jewish university students that showed 64% of those students have experienced anti-Semitism at university. 64%. 57%, over half of Jewish students, have hidden their identity at university to avoid anti-Semitism. 76%, three-quarters of Jewish students would be more confident about making complaints if their university adopted a definition of what anti-Semitism is. Madam Deputy Speaker, we have seen some of the most grotesque actions by those who would seek to bring the Jewish community down, not just in Australia but across the world. And we've particularly seen it at ground zero has been at the so-called places of enlightenment. The so-called places of enlightenment, not just in Australia but across the world, across the Western world. But let's just concentrate on Australia, where we in this place can make a difference. The member for Barara has moved this motion on 3 occasions, and on each occasion the government has effectively gagged this motion. I say that that is atrocious. That is appalling. This is an opportunity for the government to show some leadership. This is an opportunity for the government to demonstrate that it supports the more than 100,000 Jews living in Australia. I was at a function in Sydney a couple of weekends ago, and I had a young gentleman. He would have been in his early 30s. I didn't know him from a bar of soap. He came up to me and he hugged me, and he said his name. He said, "I just want you to know that thank you for what you're doing in relation to Israel." And he started to tell me about how, for the first time in his life, his grandparents were survivors of the Holocaust. And he said, "I just want you to know, this is the first time in my life where, as a Jew, I have felt unsafe in Australia." And he told me, "I am seriously considering moving my family to Israel." So this guy was very intelligent. He was telling me that he's thinking about moving to Israel. I had another gentleman who was a principal of a school speak to me, and guess what? He's probably already moved now. He was telling me that he and his wife are moving back to Israel because they felt safer living in Israel, in a war zone, than living in Australia. How could we have got this so wrong, where our universities, the places of so-called enlightenment, are saying, people like Mark Scott, Vice-Chancellor of University of Sydney, this is a matter of free speech. How could we have got this so wrong? And it reminds me of the Greens talking about, well, it's okay to deface our war memorials because that's a matter of free speech. What is happening to this country? What is happening to this country? Last night I spoke about the far left are now so aggressively hating on the Jewish community. The far right are so aggressively, and have for many years, hating on the Jewish community. We've got the far left and the far right coming up around the back and meeting. We are losing our way in this country, and we are losing our way because of the lack of leadership in this country. This country needs a leader who will stand up and say, enough is enough. This is unacceptable. This is unacceptable. Jews, no matter where they are, whether at university, at work, in schools, on the playgrounds, have just as much right to an education and living life as every other Australian.